92% of people, they stand in front of the mirror like this, I believe. Are you today also? So many problems, so many challenges, so many issues. They think about these negative things, which is a negative communication to yourself. Now, it is very important. What goes inside will only come out. So my recommendation for you to be a confident and impactful communicator, your inner communication has to be very positive and strong. I call this as like, you can practice this on a daily basis. Stand in front of the mirror, admire yourself, right? And, you're the most beautiful and handsome person in your own way. And have these affirmations. I'm going to have a great day. I'm going to be having a fruitful day today. I will come out with flying colors today. I'm going to make few people smile today. Right? I'm going to have crucial conversation at my workplace. Right? Have the self-affirmations and start your day so that your inner communication is strong, and that gives you the power to communicate with a lot of confidence. All right? And this comes with practice, and which is very, very essential for us to connect with people. Now, how well have you connected with yourself is very important. Do you know yourself? Who am I? What am I here for? Right? So connecting with yourself helps you to connect with others in a better way, in a good way, in a very positive way. Right? So you are going with a lot of positive vibes where your communication flows with confidence and you're able to connect with people. And then specific to workplace, communication is very important to collaborate with people across the organization. It could be your seniors, it could be your peers, it could be your subordinates. So the fundamental, basic, important belief that I carry with me and I evangelize is communicate, connect, and collaborate, which is very important. And communication also has got 3 parts to it, right? I mean, if we look at, before getting into that, let me also help you understand there are 4 tools that we use in communication. One is the non-verbal, our body language. The other one is a verbal tool, right? Most of us have the privilege of, using our voice, right? So non-verbal, verbal, and another couple of tools is written communication and also the visual communication. So these are the 4 primary tools that we use in communication. Communication can be divided into 3 percentages. Like, 8% only goes to the words part. Words constitute of only 8%. And 37% goes to the voice part. And 55% goes to your body language. So this is how the percentage flows in communication. Now here, the most important thing, for example, sometimes the very important element in an impactful communication is your listening skills. Now, there is a huge difference between hearing and listening. Now, most of the time, what we do, we hear people out. Sometimes people fiddle with their gadgets and then, yeah, you tell me, yes, I am listening. Yes, yes, go ahead. Yeah, I will get back to you. Yeah. And after some time, you go to that individual and ask, hey, I had asked for, we just pretend to hear and not listen. Madhu, thank you very much. Yes. So it is like, you go back and ask that person, hey, I requested for this. Can you help me out? When did you request me? Because they didn't listen. They just heard you out, right? So sometimes people pretend to listen. But when you are with another person, see, again, Harvard Business School did a study to understand why people don't listen. Why people don't listen. And they did a control group study across the globe. And they found out there are two elements, important elements that we miss out on. One is we don't have interest in that person. The second one is the element of respect. If we do not respect another individual, we would not listen to them. Right? So my recommendation to each one of you is when you are with a individual, give yourself completely. Pay close attention to them, which is where active listening plays a very important role. You actively listen to them completely. If you look at great leaders do this, they we remember good managers, good leaders in our system because they have this active habit of active listening. Now, along with active listening, there is something called empathy. What is empathy? You can write your thoughts or unmute and speak in the chat. What is empathy? What do we mean by empathy? Anyone? Please go ahead. Empathy. Now, what is sympathy and empathy? Wonderful. Empathy is helping by not getting attached emotionally. Wonderful, mother. Right. And what else? Anybody else would like to share your expression? What is empathy? What is sympathy? Because sometimes people get confused between empathy and sympathy. Right. So sympathy, I will tell you, simple terms, sympathy is I feel for you. Right? I feel for you. Oh, okay, you had a temperature last night. Oh, how are you feeling today? Is everything okay with you? I feel for you. Empathy is I feel along with you. Have you heard this phrase? People say, put yourself into others' shoes and see how it feels like. Right? So when people come to you or you go to people, especially when people come to you, why people come to you? They have a need. They have a problem statement. They have a pain area which they would like to address, or they want a solution from you. That's why people come to us, right? So when they come with a pain or a problem statement, are we able to put ourselves in their place and see how it feels like along with active listening? Think about it. So here's the tool that I wanted to give you is, please make a note of it. Empathy plus active listening is equal to empathetic listening. Empathy plus active listening is equal to empathetic listening. Now, try removing the first two alphabets in empathetic listening, E and M. It becomes pathetic listening, right? So in communication, this is very important because at the end of the day, more than you speak, The empathetic listening plays a very, very important role in your impactful communication, right? So how would you practice this empathetic listening? It is not that we are not doing it. However, if you want to really subconsciously get this habit into you, I would strongly recommend that you choose 2 people or 3 people every day. 2 from your workplace, 1 from your home. Because I always believe charity begins from home. Good practices start from home, right? So choose these 3 people every day. Consciously practice empathetic listening with them. Over a period of time, they generally say after 21 days, it gets into your subconscious practice mode, right? So consciously choose 3 people and practice it with them. And you will see a huge change in the way your credibility and respect increase in your system, right? So that is exactly what I wanted to start with. And now I would like to give you a framework, a framework for impactful communication. The first framework that I would like to give you, which would start from your end as an individual, how would you go about it, right? I have typed in the chat. It's called the CSI framework. All right. Each letter has got a word. Each letter has got a word. It's a very simple framework, but then it's been a powerful framework by organizations, individuals have transformed. And I have taken up to evangelize this across the organization, top down, right? So each letter has got a word. What do you think C would stand for here? You can quickly type in. Everyone participate. I mean, I would certainly appreciate a communication. All right. Then thank Philippa. And what else? C. Let me give you the first 2 letters of that word, letter. CR. CR. The word starts with CR. Crisp. Punit, you big round of applause to Punit. Right. Yeah. Punit, thank you. Crisp. It is crisp. What do we mean by crisp in impactful communication? What do we mean by crisp? What do we mean by that? Concise, wonderful. What else? Anybody would like to respond? Please share your views. Nobody is going to make a mistake. See, sometimes, why we fail to communicate because we are worried about what others would think. Please do not do that. Because if we are worried about what others are going to think, then we will lose out on our effective communication, impactful communication, right? So you're all right. However, let me also give you the ABC of crisp. Okay, ABC of crisp. Generally in school, what they have taught, A for generally apple, right, mother? Right? Apple. Fundamentals are very strong. However, here, what A stands for is, I'm typing in it's accurate. Being accurate means what? What do we mean by accurate? What do we mean by accurate? It needs to be very accurate. Precise, wonderful. Philippa, precise, articulated. Punit, thank you. Well, you're all right. in the world of the professional world, we call it as speak with data, write with data. You know, when we speak to a group of people, or when we speak one-on-one, or when we make a presentation, we need to speak with data. When we write emails, we need to write with data in any form of written communication, any form of business writing. Speak with data, write with data. What do we mean by that? What do we mean by speak with the data, write with the data? Generally, in the workplace, when you ask someone, probably you're asking your subordinate, okay? Hey, when can I get this report? What is the kind of replies that you get? What is the kind of replies that you get? When can I get this report? What type of replies that we get? We get replies a day, by tomorrow, right? Or a weekday, right? By EOD, correct. People say end of the day, as soon as possible, right? EOW, end of working day, right? And so nowadays people have started using end of business day, end of business day, end of working day, as soon as possible, at the earliest. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, this is a irritating factor. This kind of answer somebody gives you, you get irritated. It's a irritational answers. If you're the boss, you'll ask, hey, I asked you when, right? Now, as a subject matter expert, you and your colleagues should be in a position to speak with data, right? You should be in a position to say, hey, latest by 4 p.m. today, right? So this increases your credibility and respect in the system, isn't it? Now, if you communicate this way with the data, and people will say, oh, okay, this person makes sense to me, right? Your communication becomes impactful. Sometimes there is a challenge here. Sometimes you may not have the data. You may not have the data. You're dependent on somebody else. So then how would you communicate? How would you communicate to that person? You don't have the data. The person is asking, when will I get this report? You are dependent on somebody else. You can always tell that person, hey, allow me 15 minutes time. Allow me 15 minutes time. I will check with my colleague and I will update you latest by 3:45 today. Update you. Many a times we get into conflicts because we fail to update or people fail to update us. Right? So accurate means speak with data, write with data. Is it doable? If it is doable, type S in the chat box, everybody. If it is doable, type S in the chat box. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right. So A, accurate is speak with the data, write with the data. What is B? What do you think is B? A, B, C. We are coming to B part. We are coming to the B part. What do you think the B would be? Starts with BR. First two letters, BR. Brave. Okay. Then, what else? Anyone else would like to go for it? Any guesses? Let me give it to you. It's brief. Brevity, being brief. Because being brief is also little dangerous. Sometimes people say, hey, people, I'm going to brief you all for the next 2 hours. 2 hours briefing. Here, you need to understand, we should be in a position to measure brief. We should be in a position to measure brief. Brief can be measured in 3 steps. Please make a note of it. First step is tell them what you want to tell them. Tell them what you want to tell them is giving them the big picture. Giving them the big picture. Now, for example, you might say, okay, fine. People, today we are going to talk about atom. For example, I'm just giving you an example. If you want to make a presentation or one-on-one with a person to start the conversation, let them get the big picture as to what is that you're going to talk about. Right? So give them today we are going to talk about atom. Now, second step, now that you have given the big picture, the second step is tell them. Tell them is nothing but bullet points. Your bullet points should not be more than 3 to 5 bullets because, people don't remember more than 3 to 5 pointers. Under any subject matter, whether you're making presentation or whether you're making a one-on-one or you're addressing the team, have 3 to 5 bullet points. And these bullet points has to be in a sequence. Point number 1 should lead to point number 2. 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 3 to 5 in a sequence. If you are jumping from point number 1, bullet number 1 to 5, 5 to 3, 3 to 2, 2 to 4, then people's head will start spinning. People think, where are we? Right? So take them through a sequence and maintain only 3 to 5 bullets in any kind of a communication that you would like to have with an individual or a group of people. Keep this in mind. And that is the second step. First step is big picture. Second step is bullet points. Third step is, now that you have done with the 5 pointers or 3 pointers, it's very important for us to summarize. Tell them what you had told them is summarize. Hey, now that we have discussed the 5 pointers, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow. Okay. Now, when you do this, everyone or the other person whom you're speaking, you and the other person are on the same page. Now, I would also recommend one thing. Once you have finished this conversation, go back to your desk, immediately send a mail to help them understand that you both are on the same page. Immediately have a written communication through mail or whichever is convenient to you. Use that tool to confirm the conversation. So brevity has got 3 steps. First is big picture. Second is bullets. Third is summarize. Simple, but very effective. Now, type in the chat box, yes, if it is doable. So I know that we are all with that. Madhu, yes. Others? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that is an accurate, brief. And now we come to the C part. C part is nothing but, what do you think C would be? What do you think? What do you think C would be? Yeah. Any guesses? Let me give it to you. No worries. Conclude. Wonderful. Madhu, then anyone else? Your perspective is very important, your viewpoint, because, that's what I said. We all learn. So nobody is making mistake here, right? So here, it's clarity. What do we mean by clarity? What do we mean by clarity? Your thoughts. Clarity of thoughts. Wonderful. Then, anything else you think of? Great. Now, to ask. Wonderful. Now, let me ask you a question. Why? See, for example, when your boss is speaking to you, now most of the time we don't ask for clarity. Why people don't ask for clarity? Why do people don't ask for clarity? See, for example, Madhup is my boss and calls me and says, Justin, this has to be done. Done. And I didn't understand a single thing of what Madhup is talking to me, but I nod my head. And I go to my colleague, Punit, maybe, or Philippa, and say, hey, Madhup has, talked about something about the atom, but I didn't understand anything of that. Can you please help me? So Philippa is trying to help me, saying this is what he would have told. Now she is guiding me exactly the opposite direction of what Madhup has given communication. Now my execution is diagonally opposite to what Madhup's expectation. Now by 3 p.m. in the afternoon, Madhup finds out that I am on a different plane. Calls me, hey, Justin, where are you? You said that you understood and went. Where are you? What are you doing? Is this required? A simple, boss, I have understood, Madhup, I have understood the first part of your communication. Could you please help me with the second part for me to understand that better? Or could you please elaborate the second part of it? That would help me. The choice of words are very, very important here. Right? So my humble request to each one of you is, when you want real clarity, first thing is we need to eliminate fear. Eliminate fear in the environment. Then and then only we will have clarity, and then that will lead to a seamless execution and it will create high impact. Is it doable? Yes, no? People? Wonderful, Puneet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, there is one more reason why people don't ask for clarity. Do you all see this? Okay. Think. Yeah. Have you captured that? Yes. Now, what is that which I showed you? I. Wonderful, wonderful. I. Now, do you see this one? Second in Roman. Wonderful, wonderful. Now, did you see there is something called, the look of it, we understood that as I. In a classroom session, when I ask a participant, they will, with affirmation, they will say it's I. And 3 times they will say it's I. And then when I show this Roman letter 2, they immediately say, someone will say it's 2I or it's V, because we humans tend to justify what we said, right? So here, there is something called assumption trap. Okay. There is something called assume. I am splitting the word, in the chat. When you assume, this is what happens. When we assume, this is exactly what happens. Now, sometimes, the client's expectation is Roman letter 1. Here, the team would say, oh, okay, we know it's I. It's I. Now, if you look at it objectively, it may not serve the purpose. It may not match the deliverables of the client, internal as well as external. So come out of this assumption trap. I mean, I will give you a simple medicine, because many a times we forget to remember this. The simple medicine for coming out of assumption trap is SAP. Now, SAP is a medicine which is freely available, which is a simple one, but we fail to do it most of the time. Now, consciously practice this. What S would stand for? Here again, each letter has got a word. SAP, as you all know, it's a big IT organization, but I'm not talking about the organization here. I'm talking about something very, very simple and effective in terms of overcoming assumption traps. Right? Now, here, yes would stand for stop. See, when I'm in doubt, I need to stop. Oh, okay. I'm not sure what it means to me. And then there's something called, after stopping, ask. Hey, I have a question. Could you help me with that? Right? And you get an answer for that. And then you do what? Proceed. Isn't it? So stop, ask, proceed. Simple. You will save loads of executive time. And your people will save executive time. So here is where, ABC, crisp results in ABC. A for being accurate, speak with data, write with data. B for brevity, 3 steps, big picture, bullet points, summarize. C, clarity, eliminate the fear factor, minimize the assumption factor by using SAP. Is it doable, people? Yes. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Now, let me come to the C, yes part. C is crisp, ABC, you know the tool. S part, what do you think the S part would be in CSI? S part. Any guesses? It's nothing but structure. Now, people, whenever you go for a communication, if you want your communication to be complete and impactful, please do your homework. If you're going to communicate to your boss, sit down and do your homework. What is that you're going to communicate? Prepare. And then go communicate. Have a structure. When you're conducting meetings, have an agenda. Stick to that agenda. When you're communicating to your team, prepare. Have a structure in place so that you don't miss out on anything. Many times, have you noticed we make a phone call and we speak and finally we close the call. And after closing the call, Oh, I forgot this. Call again. Now, visualize and recollect your experiences. How many repeat phone calls have you done? How many repeat emails that you have done? How many repeat meetings that you have conducted? How many repeat travels that you have made, which could have been complete in the previous travel? Think about it. So always have a structure in your communication. And finally, I part. I part is what? Make your conversations interesting. Make your conversations interesting. Become a good storyteller, right? Every one of us loves stories, right? And people should feel, oh, I had a conversation with this individual today morning for 10 minutes. Wow, it was a learning experience to me. That is where you create that impact. They should feel, oh, I learned something new today from this person. It was a very fruitful conversation. He or she shared a story with me, which was a learning experience. So make your conversations interesting. Make your communication interesting. So C, yes, I, crisp, structure, interesting. Is it doable, people? Type S in the chat box if it is doable. Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Now, let me also take you through another framework. Once you are ready with the CSA, it is all about collaborating with people. When you're collaborating with people, your communication plays a very, very important role. So for this reason, I'm going to give you a guest model. Okay. Quickly, I'm going to give you a guest model. What is this guest model? When you invite guests to your home, the first thing when they come in, what do? You greet them, right? So the connect happens here. Hello, you know, whatever way you want to greet, just a recognition could be, or you can use your regional geographical greetings, but do greet them. And then you stands for understand the needs of people. Now, how would you understand the needs of people? By asking questions. Now, FBI, CBI ask questions. We call that as interrogation, inquiry. However, in a professional setup, understanding or asking questions, we call this as probing. How well do we probe? Probing is nothing but, encouraging the other person to speak. Encouraging the other person to speak. Right? Now, how would you encourage the other person to speak? You could ask two types of questions, right? So you can ask somebody, when did you join this organization? Their answer would be, I joined last July. However, if you ask, Philippa or any of you, hey, could you please tell us about your background a little bit? And you would, oh, okay, you would take at least 2 to 3 minutes there, right? So understanding the need of others requires us to ask primarily, technically, two types of questions. One is open-ended, another is closed-ended questions, right? So these could be, helpful for you to understand the needs of others so that you are able to address them and you are able to make an impactful communication to them in order for a seamless execution. Is it doable? Yes. Wonderful. And E would, in guest, next letter comes is E. Explain. See, we human beings are naturally lazy to communicate. Okay, naturally lazy to communicate. Now, a new joinee joins your organization and you are the boss. Now, you need to spend some quality time with that person in terms of helping that person navigate. To navigate, you need to make an impact. And that impact can happen only you spending quality time with that person to help them understand the culture, the organization, their role and responsibility, and whatnot. It's not only, I'm just taking an example there. Anywhere, take some quality time, use the CSI to explain. Be crisp, structured, and interesting. Right? You need to identify, okay, fine, how am I going to explain this to this person? Right? It takes, because many a times I find the salespeople or people in the IT industry, and they say, oh, this is the manual, you just please go through it. You can just give the gist of the manual. So the other person gets a, okay, wonderful backgrounder of it. And then they say, wow, they know what to expect from that manual. Isn't it? You don't have to explain the whole manual. Depending on the situation, you can, go about it, right? Explain. Then in the collaborative communication, this is exactly what is required of us. S stands for suggest. Here is where you are taking a consultative approach. You say, hey, listen, I have been trying to do this process for the last 5 years this way. However, the last 5 months, I have found a new way to do this. Why don't you also try it? Consultative approach is nothing but adding value, thereby creating impact. Adding value to an individual, adding value to a client, adding value to the leadership team, adding value to the subordinates, adding value to the organization, adding value to the family. Right? This is where the collaborative communication, where you add value in terms of, wow, okay, that is where you are giving them a learning experience, an impactful experience. Right? Finally, the magic word, please do not forget, thank you. Hey, thank you very much for this. This also needs your attention. Many a times bosses behave this way, like, hey, sir, I have done this. So what, yeah? What happened to that? A simple thank you is a motivation to the other person. It is good for the collaboration. It's good for the connect, and you have an impactful communication. Right? So here we need to understand, okay, let me summarize the whole thing. Life has got 3 dimensions: personal, professional, social dimension. And in that, we have the 3 C's as a powerful, components: communicate, connect, collaborate. And to start with, we need to have the empathy plus active listening, which is empathetic listening, which gives you a deeper understanding about the other person, which will create. And for that, I have given you a practice mode. Choose 3 people every day and practice with them the empathetic listening. Then I took you through the CSI framework: crisp, structure, and interesting. Crisp is ABC. A stands for being accurate, which is speak with the data, write with the data. B stands for brevity, wherein tell them what you want to tell them. Big picture, tell them what you are told them. Big picture, bullets, and summarize. C, clarity, articulate your communication. 8% words, 37 to 38% voice, 55% your body language. Now, eliminate fear when getting clarity, and eliminate assumption traps. Gave you a medicine which is called SAP. Then took you through the guest model, which is an interpersonal impactful communication, which is a collaborative communication, where the connect and collaborate happens, right? There where you greet, recognize the other person, understand their needs, explain, suggest where you add value, and then the magic word, thank you, right? So use this, in the short while, I have given you very powerful and be aware of your 4 important tools which you have to employ while using these frameworks. One is your verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, and visual communication. So while using these tools, use these frameworks, which would, you would be able to create a great impact in your career, as well as in your personal dimension, professional dimension, and social dimension. Thank you very much. And it's question time. The floor is open for questions. Please. Soumya?
Yes, Justin. Thank you so much. It was a very informative session. I hope everyone felt the same. And yes, the questions floor is open for you. Please go ahead with the questions if you have. If you are
You
willing
can
to talk,
unmute and speak also, please.
yes.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear your voices.
Please raise your hand so that I can allow you to talk. Okay. Let me allow you to talk, Puneet. Yes.
Yeah, hi, Justin.
Hi,
Puneet
Puneet.
this. Yeah, okay. So, I was getting confused between one thing that in the CSI, the SNI stands for structure industry, but what does the C stands for?
Crisp.
Oh, okay.
Crisp, I have divided that crisp into ABC.
Yeah. Okay.
That crisp is something which we call to put it in a very smaller categories, accurate, brief, and clear is crisp.
Yeah, noted. Okay.
Am I communicating, Puneet?
Yeah, you're audible. Your answer was clear. Thank you.
Right, Puneet. Thank you.
Thank you, Puneet.
Hmm.
Anybody else have any questions?
And if somebody would like to say a few words about the last 1 hour, you can say a few words, right? How was the frameworks and how you can do it, practice it in your lives, in your career lives, in your personal life.
Yes, you can share your experience, you can share your thoughts.
Yeah. Puneet, would you like to go ahead? You can unmute and speak.
Sorry, but as of now, I don't have any experience to share.
Sure.
All right. So, anybody else from the audience who have any questions? A couple of more seconds for the questions. If we are not getting any questions, I think we are good to end the session, Justin.
Yes, thank you so much, Soumya, for organizing this, and thank each one of you. I hope everyone is there. I see Puneet. I see Kabana, Romil, and Eunice. Thank you so much. And have a wonderful evening. And keep listening to such workshops. I mean, such webinars.
Yes, we are planning more sessions with Justin in the coming months. So please visit our KnowledgeHut website for more sessions and please get registered. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you
See
very
you all
much.
in the
Thank you
next
very much.
sessions. Yeah.
Have a great evening, everyone.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.